Let's talk about ChatGPT's paid tier and James Clear's newsletter Playbook for growing to 2 billion subscribers. This is Video Signals. What's up, everyone? I'm Joey Dowd. Each week, twice a week, we send out Video Signals, a newsletter /podcast/ video, where we give you 5 links, 3 tools, and 1 tactic you can use to apply to video marketing. So let's jump into the 5 links. First link, ChatGPT has released a paid tier, ChatGPT Plus. It's $20 a month, and for that you get access during peak times, which that has been an issue where people get throttled and when they're too busy and then you can't use the app, so you won't have that issue. You also get fast response times and access to new features. $20 is pretty cheap. I'm surprised it's not more. I mean, compared to Jasper and other tools, which are $50 to $100. But yeah, $20 is a pretty good deal for this, especially since they pay every single time someone runs a query on it. But with 100 million users, that will probably go down as one of the greatest growth hacks of all time. All right, next link. Instagram's co-founders are back developing a new app called Artifact. So it seems like it's a algorithm-driven text feed. So either like TikTok for text or Google Reader reimagined. So it sources from like news articles and shows you news. It wasn't quite clear, news clips or also just text from articles. For the algorithm-driven thing, I don't think people have the attention span or interest in wanting to read stuff when they're looking for distraction on their phone. But no one's quite sure what this app quite does yet or looks like. So we'll reserve judgment until it comes out. But the public wait list just opened up, so you can sign up to get on the list for when they open up the app. We got a third link that is a deep dive into everything you want to know about H.264. So that's the kind of compression format that you tend to use when you export your video. You want to get a small manageable file size, so you can upload it to YouTube, but you also want it to keep it looking good. So this is an interesting dive of what H.264 means and compression, decompression. So if you want a little bit of a technical dive, go check out that article. Fourth link, we got TikTok SEO. Again, I've talked about it before, but it's only getting bigger. But now there's an article to expect TikTok search to only get bigger, and not only SEO from the sense of uploading your videos and people search for it. There's also new ad formats where you can pay and get videos to show up in TikTok search. So TikTok's investing heavily in search. Now is a good time because it's still pretty early in this. So now is a good time to invest in content to target TikTok SEO. That's my thought. So keep expecting that to grow. The fifth link, we got a thread from Katelyn, I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name, on Twitter, which has 16 applied psychology concepts for marketers. So it's a nice list of different concepts plus examples of each one. A few ones that stood out to me: the Barnum effect, which is make it feel personal; status quo bias, showing people the risk of not doing anything, maintaining the status quo; and priming people to take action. All right, and now let's cover our 3 tools. First tool, Iconik. So this is one that we've been using for a while. It's basically a digital asset management system, which is a fancy way of saying you can tag and organize your files. Specifically, this works for video files, which we obviously deal with a lot. So we've been using it to index and organize. I got a Synology NAS, network area server, which has 16 terabytes. So it's been organizing all of that data and also makes it easier for people on the team to access any of the files, which is always a bottleneck issue before. And also it has a really good video review feature where you can share links, have people comment on it. So it's basically replaced Frame.io for us. So it's kind of like that merged with some other tools that makes it really powerful. So we've been using it, enjoying it, and for not being super technical on my end, it's usable, but also powerful enough where if you do have someone technical, you can program it to do a lot more interesting things. Second link, Jasper. So I want to give a shout out to Jasper. Been using it for a while. So ChatGPT has kind of blown up the AI space of everyone using AI tools, but it's not new. GPT-3, what it's built on, or 3.5, has been around for a few years. But before, you had to use a third-party tool that integrated with it. And so I found Jasper to be like the best implementation of it. Really good for templates, really good for short form writing, but also really, really good for long form writing. Their tool suite is really good. So if you want sort of like a nicer interface and also just kind of a better way to extract and use GPT, I found Jasper to be the best one out there. And third tool, Unsplash. If you're not familiar with it, it's one of the best spots to get free to use photos on the web. So just another tool out there. Okay, and our 1 tactic. So this was a tactic that I'm pulling from a deep dive video that we just released yesterday on James Clear and how he built his newsletter to be 2 million subscribers. And so this tactic specifically is create compounding work. So if we look at James Clear, that's sort of the narrative that was out there of how he built his email list was that he published 2 articles a week on his website for 10 years and kind of had this huge consistent track run of putting out these articles, and the newsletter just grew from a result of that. That's like the simple form of like the narrative I had heard. But when I did a deep dive, that's not really true. He wrote articles consistently, pretty much consistently, for the first 3 years. So back in 2012, he started the website, was publishing 2 articles a week, and then he pretty much stopped. He went from like about 80 articles a week down to 10 to like as low as 5 articles in the entire year that he published. So what happened was he got the book deal for Atomic Habits. He also had kids, so he just was very busy writing the book, managing kids. I did not have the time to devote to writing 2 articles a week like he used to. But the interesting thing was, because even though he stopped, because he put in all of that earlier work in publishing and being consistent and ending up with about a few hundred articles out there in the early years, that work compounded. And so even though the number of articles he wrote dropped, the website visitors and the newsletter subscribers continued to grow. And then the book came out, and then he started reformatted his newsletter to the 321 newsletter, and that really sent things skyrocketing. But because of that early work, and because those articles were evergreen and universal, they got a lot of search traffic, and they just kept working and building for him and building up that traffic. So even though he stopped publishing, things kept growing. So the tactic here is focus on doing work that compounds by keeping it timeless and evergreen as much as you can, because that's the kind of the stuff, whatever you can put out there that's going to keep working for you months, years down the line, is really worth the investment, especially when it comes to videos and other long-form articles. All right, but for more of the details, deep dives, and a bunch of other insights and tactics like that, go watch the full video, which we'll have linked in the show notes. And that is it. Thanks for watching Video Signals. Be sure to subscribe to the newsletter if you have not done so already. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you next week in the next Signal.